Okay guys, so in this video, I'm going to talk you through 3 habits that you can implement into your daily and weekly routine to make fat loss easy. And these are what I believe is the foundations of a successful fat loss phase, that you make sure that you're on holiday, you're at that wedding, at a festival, whatever it might be, you're just going to the beach, you want to look and feel your best. And I'm going to make sure that this video explains how you can make that possible. See, before we get started, I'm just going to show you some proof so you know what I'm talking about and all the results that we do get at ParaFitness. Okay guys, so habit numero uno is sleep. Making sure that we're getting at least 7 to 9 hours sleep per night is absolutely key. You know yourself, if you have a bad night's sleep, how do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Your energy levels, your mood, your cognitive function, and then obviously your ability and your willingness to stick to your diet. Your hormones are out of whack, you start craving food, your digestion's all over the place as well. So making sure that we're getting those 7 to 9 hours is massively going to help with your adherence to your diet plan. You're not fighting all day against fighting against those cravings all day. You know, you want to eat good quality food, you're full of energy, you want to go to the gym. Whereas if you're having a bad night's sleep, the opposite is true. You don't want to go to the gym, you want to lie on the couch, you want to eat shit, you don't want to do anything. Okay, so making sure the foundation, I believe this is the foundation of everything. I've gone through periods of time where my sleep has been shit. And then I'm just craving takeaways, I don't want to go to the gym, it's just a shit show. At the end of the day, you can do whatever else you want throughout the day, but if your sleep is bad, I think you're pissing against the wind, really. So making sure your sleep is on point. And obviously I want to give you some kind of things that you can implement as well. And what I see people struggle with a lot is having a bed night routine is like trying to get to, the key is to get to bed on time, get to bed early. If you're trying to be someone who wakes up early in the morning, at 6 o'clock starts, but you're going to bed at 1 o'clock, it's not going to happen, okay? So the key to having a good night's sleep, obviously making sure, the key to having a good productive day, I believe, is having a good night's sleep the day before, okay? Or that night before. So making sure you're getting your 7 to 9 hours sleep, have a bedtime that you go to and you stick to. Make sure you cut caffeine at least 8 hours beforehand. And with that as well, I see a lot of people, they don't even potentially know that Diet Coke, they still have caffeine in that. So they're necking a can of Coke before bed and then wonder why they can't sleep. Or energy drinks too late at night as well. That's another big one. So making sure that at least 8 hours before bed. So if you're going to bed at 10, try cut your caffeine at 2 and you're going to have a much, much better sleep. The next thing is like blue light blockers towards the evening if you're working late, or if you're on your phone, have the blue light blockers on. Or what you can also do as well is if you have an iPhone, you can put on night shift. So that's going to help with that blue light, which is then going to help with your sleep again. Because if you have too much bright lights, blue lights before bed, it's going to affect your sleep. It's as simple as that. I'd put the phone away an hour before bed minimum, and then maybe have a cup of chamomile tea or read a book and just kind of wind down for the evening, I find best. Okay, so I think they're the kind of common things, the caffeine, being on your phone too late and not actually having a bedtime and a period to wind down before bed. That's the night before, okay? Then obviously when you're going into bed, you want to make sure the room is dark. You want to make sure it's not too hot in the room as well, that it's nice and cool. And obviously it goes without saying, noise as well. I'm having an issue with noise at the moment with the neighbors, which is killing me a little bit. But just making sure the room is dark and cool is very, very important. And obviously, I probably don't need to say it, but noise. And then first thing in the morning when you wake up, try get out and get some daylight exposure. I know it might be dark later in the winter months or whatever, but if we're getting up and we can get some daylight, at least 5 to 10 minutes daylight, go for a little quick walk outside, that's actually going to massively help with your sleep later that evening, because it's helping your circadian rhythm, okay? Your body's natural body clock, we'll say. So making sure we do that, and actually cutting your caffeine, not cutting your caffeine, but limiting your caffeine for like at least half an hour to an hour also is very, very beneficial, okay? So that's your sleep, making sure we have that dialed in to help with fat loss, essentially to help curb those cravings and make sure that we actually have enough energy to actually go to the gym and train and work out. Then meal prep. This one I think gets overlooked so much. People think they're eating 2,000 calories. So then they're going along their day, they're eating this, they're eating that, they're tracking it on MyFitnessPal, but then they might have forgot what they ate something earlier on, or they might have forgot they got a protein bar, and then you're going over 200 calories, 300, 400, 500 calories in a day with actually just by forgetting, okay? So making sure your meals are prepped, I believe, when you're in a fat loss phase is key. And again, with fat loss, guys, you have to remember, we don't want to be in a fat loss phase for months and months and months and months and months. You want to have a start date and an end date, and just fucking make sure on a daily basis then you're in that deficit, you're stripping off body fat. Because if you're in a deficit 1 week, back to maintenance, then in a little bit of a surplus for a few days, you're going like that. You might go down a little bit, you'll go back up, down a little bit, back up. Whereas if you just say 12 weeks, I'm going to go all in, going to be disciplined with my fat loss phase, get in, get out, and then you can maintain, then you can have more flexibility. But meal prepping, when you're in a fat loss phase, for me, I find it absolute key. And just get into the habit of maybe meal prepping twice a week. So on a Sunday, you can meal prep for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then on a Wednesday, meal prep for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then you're back to your Sunday. That's the way I personally do it. Sunday and Wednesday, I meal prep. And then Sunday, I might not meal prep for the day. I might just I'm a little bit more relaxed. Take kind of Sunday as a bit of downtime, so I can then kind of cook up my meals as I feel on that day. But making sure that when I'm busy, I don't have to, okay, I ran out of time, I didn't get time to cook, I now have to order something, macros is a little bit off. You want to make sure you meal prep, and you want to make sure that it's consistent as well, okay? So tips for meal prepping, I think, is just twice a week. It's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, it's going to save you headache, it's going to save you cleaning up and cooking each and every meal, because that's shit, nobody has time for that. So making sure that your meal prep is dialed in, and obviously making sure that your macros align to your goals, which is a fat loss, so you want to be in that slight deficit. Next thing that we can do on a daily and weekly basis, which is very important and most people don't do, is actually check in. So daily, have a daily habit tracker. So your daily habits, and then your weekly. Okay, so with your daily, tracking like your weight, your water intake, your step count. You know what I'm actually going to do, guys, if you've got this far to the YouTube video, drop me a message on Instagram at ShameyP and just say tracker. Just message me the word tracker. I'm going to send you across what I use, what my clients use, the daily habit tracker, so you can start tracking it, and then the weekly check-in form, so you can understand what needs to be getting tracked, and if you're progressing, what adjustments you need to make, essentially, okay? So drop me a message on Instagram. So with the daily habit tracker, just tracking your weight, your water intake, etc., that's going to make sure that it's keeping you front of mind. And at the end of the day, with fat loss or with any goal, it's all about your daily habits. It's making sure that you're tracking what needs to be tracked, and then you're implementing what needs to be implemented, and then all we need is time, okay? And then you're going to reach your goals. It's not that hard. It's just about tracking things, being consistent with it, and your daily habits, just making sure that they actually align with the person you want to become, okay? So your daily, and then your weekly. And then with the daily, obviously weight will fluctuate, so don't worry about that. But on a weekly basis, you want that weekly average coming down, okay? And then with the weekly check-ins, you're taking pictures, you're taking your weight, you're tracking your adherence, and you have to be honest with yourself at the end of the day. Did you do what you said you were going to do? Did you stick to your diet? Did you do your cardio? Did you do what was needed to do? And then if not, you can then reassess, and you're like, okay, this week I'm going to make sure I do everything. Or if you did do everything and you've made progress, great. Same again. If you did do everything and you hit a bit of a plateau, then you need to make adjustments, either to your nutrition, your cardio, your step count, whatever it might be, your energy balance, essentially, to make sure that you then continue to drive fat loss and you get to where you want to be. So look, there are 3 habits that I believe, your sleep, making sure you're getting that 7 to 9 hours, absolutely key. Your meal prepping, if you get into the habit of meal prepping, it's going to save you time, money, energy, and make sure that each meal you have is aligned. And it's going to eliminate that decision making. Even sometimes, if you're trying to order something healthy off Uber Eats, or you're trying to figure out what to eat, or go to I could be spending fucking half an hour on Uber Eats trying to figure out what to pick. And an hour goes by and I still didn't pick on it, and I'm like, fuck this, because there's too many options. So just having a meal plan and just knowing what you're eating, when you're eating, and if you don't want to be eating the same thing every day, that's fine, but just make sure it's all mapped out, and you can have 3 days of the same meals, the next 3 the same meals, or chop and choose. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying it has to be the exact same thing every single day, which I recommend to actually do because it's easier to track it, and again, less decision making. But just meal prepping, making sure it's aligned with your goals, and then making sure that you stick to the food. Because if the food's in the fridge, the chances of you ordering a takeaway or getting something in is going to drop massively, okay? And we want to make this as easy as possible for us. And then your weekly check-ins. You make sure that you get into the habit of checking your daily habits and then your weekly habits to make sure that you're actually progressing towards your goals. So guys, I hope you found it valuable. I'm going to start banging out a load more. Drop me tracker if you want that, and we shall chat soon. Adios. Goodbye.